Okay. Last lesson and the lesson before that, you're working on the sine rule. Sienna, this is for you. With the sine rule, you will have a triangle. Ladies always seem to wait till I start to show up to class.
Sorry, miss.
So you'll have a triangle like this, and it works in opposites. You will have, I'm just making information up here, angle, side opposite, angle, side opposite. Okay, so you've got opposites like that. That one, angle, side opposite, and you'd be finding one of them. So there might be an X, sorry, for that one. You'd be finding one of the sides, or you'd be finding one of the angles. Okay, that's when you use sine rule. To use the cosine rule, these are the two situations here, and I've drawn diagrams down the side there of what that looks like. So situation number one is that you have all three sides in the triangle and you are trying to find an angle. So that is this one here. Okay, you have all three sides, the 7, the 8 and the 6, and you're trying to find one of the angles. You can use the cosine rule. Option number 2 is if you have two sides of the triangle and the included angle. Okay, that's this one here. So here's my two sides and my included angle, and you'll be trying to find the third side. So I guess Cos Rule always is involving three sides, which the sine rule never does. Okay, so either you've got all three of them already and you're trying to find an angle, or you've got two of them and the included angle and you're trying to find that third side. Okay, it is very important that you do learn to identify which rule you can use when. Okay, so the formulas, this first big triangle here is just to show you the labeling again. So capital A for angles, little a for sides, and they're across from each other. The cosine rule to find a side is this one here. It is quite a long formula. It is on the Nessa formula sheet for Year 12, so I'm intending to give you that for your test, but you have to know how to use it and what it means. So little a stands for side, which is why this is the find the side formula. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Now, these formulas have been arranged so that a is always the thing that you're trying to find, okay? If it was C or B or those kind of things, you can relabel your triangles, or you can adjust your formula. The key thing is, if I'm trying to, whatever this letter here is here, these are the other two sides that you're adding here. So that's what you're finding. So it's going to be side squared plus side squared minus 2 times the two sides again. And it's cos of the angle in between. So the letters themselves aren't really important if you understand how the formula works. If I rearrange that formula, and I've actually shown you, it only really takes 2 steps to rearrange it. All I want to do is I want to get this cos A by itself. So because it's negative, that whole term is negative, I want to move it across to that side to make it positive, and the A squared would move back this way. So that this 2bc cos A moves across to that side, and the A squared moves across to the other side, so it becomes a minus A squared on the end of that. Okay, that's step number 1. Second step is that you just divide the 2bc underneath that, and then you get it. Now again, you don't have to memorize that. You do get that formula as well, okay? But it is a very interesting rearrangement. So if you do only ever happen to get stuck with one formula, it can be rearranged. Okay, have you written all that down?
No.
I'll give you a second. Yeah, go
A squared.
Yeah, I'm not really explaining where the formulas come from because it's better just to focus on how to use them at this stage. I did do that for Sienna for the sine rule the other day. I can look it up for you later if you want to have a look, but don't do it. Yeah. All right, we ready? More or less. Okay, so there's just 2 questions on the next page. First one. Find the third side of a triangle. The triangle is ABC. Now, the diagrams aren't to scale, but it is helpful to have one. So here we go, A, B, C. So it says little a is 5, which means across from capital A, that one has to be the 5. Little c, across from capital C, is 11. And capital B, which means it's an angle, is 73 degrees. And it says to find the third side, which is going to be this gap over here. Okay, so you can see I've got two sides, the included angle. I'm trying to find the third side. So it's going to be a cosine rule to find a side, which is formula a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a, cos of the angle in between. Now, you will notice if I use the labels that were given in the question, I am not actually trying to find little a. The labeling is off for this, okay? Sometimes you'll see this in textbooks and they will write all three different versions out for that one. So where a squared is the subject, b squared is the subject, c squared, and then they'll do it all again for angles. Cos A, sine, cos A, cos B, cos C. It's easy just to stick with one and just readjust as you go. So, as I said, if I'm trying to find little a, that's this side here, these two sides are going to be my b squared and c squared. Doesn't actually matter which one is which, okay? So, let's sub that in. It's going to be, it is going to be little b that I'm actually finding, but it's going to be 11 squared plus 5 squared. They're the two sides that I've got. And then it's going to be minus 2 times by those same two sides again, 11 times 5. And then it's cos of, it says A, but it really just represents the angle that is in between those two sides, which is actually that one, the 73. So I'm ignoring the labeling that was on the triangle, okay? So 73. Okay, then you need to grab your calculator out and you need to type that in. Okay, can be a bit of a nasty one to type in, so let's all give it a go. 11 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 11 times 5 times cos of 73. Did we all get 113 point that stuff? Yeah, great. So 113.839 and it keeps going. Now remember that that's squared, that's b squared. I just want to get b by itself, which means I need to square root that. So doesn't tell me how many decimal places. Let's do 2. That's 10.67 to 2 dp. Okay, that's it. Ready for the next one?
Wait a minute.
Yep, yeah, sorry, Ruby.
How do you know when to use like sine or cos?
That's what I was talking about at the beginning, trying to. So sine rule is always angle side opposite, angle side opposite. Okay, cos rule is these two situations here where you've got all three sides and you're trying to find an angle, or you've got two sides and the included angle and you're after the third side. Both of these options means it's involving three sides, which is the giveaway. Okay,
That's three numbers.
No, well this one doesn't have a number, you're trying to find the third side.
No, like just like three other numbers, like in the triangle. Like there's three.
There will always be three for sine rule.
I don't know.
So sine rule from before, here was a sine rule question. It still has three numbers, but it was angle side opposite, angle side opposite. Yeah, so it's not three rules, unfortunately. You have to look at the positions of where they are. That's what gives it away. All right, it will come with practice. And so the people that have finished the Cos Rule exercise, I've given them a sheet today that is mixing the two types together so that you can practice that. Which rule do I use? And you're all welcome to have that sheet when you're ready. All right, for now, question 2. Find the smallest angle in the triangle with sides 5, 8, and 11. So again, let's start with a diagram, not to scale. So 5, 8, and 11. If it says to find the smallest side, that is going to be opposite the smallest angle. If it says to find the smallest angle, that is always going to be opposite the smallest side.
How do you know that?
And the biggest angle is always opposite the bigger side. Because a bigger side here means I've got these arms have to be further apart to make that bigger side, right? And a smaller side means that arms are closer together, smaller side.
Is that wrong?
So, no, I'm trying to find the one across from the 5. Okay, it's going to be that angle in there. So if I'm finding the smallest angle, it'll be across from the smallest side. Okay, now I am finding an angle. I do have all three sides, which is a dead giveaway for Cos Rule. The formula to find an angle in Cos Rule is cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. Okay? Well, we can decide that from our diagram. The most important one is the one across from your angle. Okay? It has to be the one that is subtracted. Okay, so that 5 has to be that one there that's subtracted off. That B and the C just has to be these two sides, doesn't matter which one's which. Yes? Okay.
So A will always be the opposite
yes.
of theta.
Correct. In the cos rule, correct. So let's sub in cos of my angle that I've called theta, the 8 squared and the 11 squared, so the two adjacent arms, they're the ones that are added. And you subtract off the one that is opposite the angle you're trying to find, so minus 5 squared, over 2 times BC. The B and the C are whatever these first two numbers are, which is the 8 and the 11 again. Okay, when you type that in your calculator, you can see some people doing it, which is good. You can actually press your fraction button. This one comes out nicely, I think, as 10 over 11. That's the cos theta part. Now, any time when you are trying to find an angle, you know you're going to have to at some stage do inverse. So you're now going to go inverse cos of the 10 over 11, which I did degrees and minutes. It didn't specify. That was my choice. I did 24 degrees and 37 minutes. That is the smallest angle in that triangle. Okay, so give that a go in exercise 7H, and then we can practice mixing them together, the two